Hey, so Alex.
So yeah, I'm Alex, and I'm going to talk about social media and what the hell it is. So what is social media? Generally, social media is the creation, exchange, and sharing of information. You can use it to connect with people, to spread your ideas, and to basically engage with people on a variety of different levels. So that's kind of what social media is. So much else to it, really. Identify your audience. If you're getting involved in social media, find out what your audience is like. Find out where they live. Find out their demographics, their ages. Find out their gender. Not like creepily or anything like that. Just sort of generally, you can. They allow you to look at this kind of stuff. It's fine, because what you want to do is you want to tailor your content to them. You want to focus your efforts. It's hard enough controlling one social media channel, let alone 15 of them. Find out what channels your audience uses and focus your efforts on those channels. One or two. So if they use Facebook, use Facebook. If they use Twitter. If they don't use Pinterest, then don't use Pinterest. Focus your efforts a lot easier then to get your message across to people. So Facebook is the most popular social platform in the world. It's huge. A lot of people are on it. And the great thing about Facebook is you can very specifically target people. You can target people by their gender, you can target people by their interests, by their location. So it's great for really getting to the core of your audience and the core of what people are actually saying and doing. Twitter is similar to Facebook in that you can share a lot of content. You can share video, pictures, links very easily, but it's very quick. It's more like a stream of consciousness. If something goes up on Twitter, it'll quickly go away unless it becomes infamous, at which point it'll get passed around like wildfire. And then we also have Google+, which it might be like the sweet in the bottom, the quality sweetener that nobody really eats, but it is gaining a bit of ground. And the thing with Google+ is the people who are on it are actually very engaged with the platform. So if you do get into Google+ and your audience is there, they will interact with you a lot more than on other channels, say on Facebook and on Twitter. So it's quite good for engagement. But that's not it. You've also got things like Vine, Instagram, Foursquare, Get Glue, This Is My Jam, Pinterest, YouTube. There are literally hundreds of social media channels out there. So go out there, find out what your audience is actually using, and then use those channels. There's plenty of things. There's ones for gaming, there's like Raptor, and this is important. Likes do not matter. I cannot stress that enough. The number of likes, the number of followers you have, it's crap, it's bollocks. It doesn't matter. You can have 1,000 likes, but if they're all spam bots, no one's going to actually listen to what you're saying. No one's going to read anything that you put up there. So the number of likes and the number of followers you have, it doesn't matter. What does matter is engagement. And engagement is if somebody clicks on a link, it's if somebody shares your story, if somebody tweets at you, if they retweet you. This is them actually engaging with what you've said. And this is what matters. This shows that the person is interested in what you've got to say, and then they're all spreading it to other people. So therefore, doing basically marketing for you. And you don't have to spend a penny, which is always good. So you're looking to increase engagement. You're looking to increase the number of likes you get, increase the number of clicks. If you're doing any kind of social media, you want to really kind of increase this level of engagement. It's a really important thing to try and do. Because if you do increase engagement, the numbers will come organically. You'll get the followers, you'll get the likes, if you've actually got something people doing that. Analyze what you do. Analyze what works and what doesn't work. If you find out that pictures are more popular on Facebook, post more pictures. If you find out that short tweets are better than long tweets, then go for short tweets. Measure and analyze everything on social media, because then you can actually find out what works and what doesn't work, and then use that to better kind of spread your message. Timing is important. If your audience is predominantly in the United States of America, don't post something at 9 o'clock British time. They're not going to see it. Facebook, about maybe 3 hours a post list for. Twitter's even less. So if nobody sees the post, then nobody's going to be able to spread the message and they don't know what the hell you're on about. So make sure your timings are important. Moderation is also key. So on Facebook, a general rule of thumb is 1 to 2 posts a day. Twitter, about 1 an hour. You can engage with people on Twitter a lot more by kind of, at replying them or retweeting. But if you're actually sending out a tweet, about 1 an hour. If you spam people too much, they're just going to unfollow you. They're just not going to like you anymore, in Facebook and in general as well. And the key is content. You need to have content to share, whether that's your own content in terms of videos, screenshots, blog posts, or other people's content. But make sure there's like a balance between self-promotion and also promoting other people's work. If you just self-promote all the time, people are going to get turned off of that as well. But if you just share other people's stuff, well, then you're not spreading your own kind of product, your own kind of game. Be human. it's a kind of a personal thing, but I do like, brands with a bit of personality behind them. Show that there is actually a human face behind, there's someone there tip-tapping away at the screen or on the keys. Make a joke, comment on, what's going on in the news, but be careful what you say, because sometimes that can go completely not wrong. The anonymity of the internet has meant that people will be abusive to you. It happens. You can use this in two ways. You can either turn a disgruntled customer and turn it around so they become an evangelist and they appreciate the effort that you put into solving their issue, or you just block and ignore them if they're being abusive and if they're being a bit of a dick. So just keep up to date with what's going on. Recently, Facebook announced this week that to run competitions, you do not need a dedicated app anymore, which is brilliant. Now you can literally put a post on Facebook and use likes, you can use comments as a way of entering a sweepstakes, which is fantastic, because now you don't have to pay people to run competitions on Facebook. You can actually do that yourself. So keep up to date with what's happening in social media and stay on top of it. Cross-pollinate your content, which means if you posted something on Twitter, post it on Facebook as well. If you put a video on YouTube, share it on your website. Your audience will not be all on one social media site. They'll be spread across all the different ones. So therefore, make sure you reach as many people as you can by posting the same content on different channels. And be part of the conversation, don't just read it. If you see a conversation happening on Twitter and you think, hang on a second, I know about this, I know this problem. Interact with the people, tell them an answer. If you can then build up an idea of being kind of an industry leader or an expert in your specific field, then people will come to you for answers, and when you then share some content, they'll be more likely to share it to their followers, therefore increasing your reach. And have fun. It doesn't have to be a chore, it doesn't have to be boring. And if you have fun, it comes across in what you're doing as well, and people are more likely to interact with you and respond, so just have a good time. And that's it.
So, any questions? Dave?
How many people on social media are on PSP?
A few, actually. You do see the odd one in the wild, like with funky covers and stuff. So a few people.
Any, Dave?
Do you find that certain types of messages you put out that work better on Facebook or work better on Twitter? Are they different kind of audiences, or is it the same?
For Facebook, it also depends on what they do with their EdgeRank algorithm. They keep messing about with it. There's an algorithm that decides how many people will see your content on Facebook. If you say have like 10,000 likes, only about 17% of those will actually see anything. And the way they weight content is different as well. So 1 week pictures might be more popular, and then 2 weeks later Facebook will just mess about with it, not tell anybody, and all of a sudden video is more popular. And it also kind of depends on your audience. For us, like for One the Mobile, for Celtic Heroes, we find that we put up like something historical, like some maybe history behind the game, nobody gives a shit. But if we put something like some new content, they'll laugh that up. So it's very much identifying what your audience likes to hear and then kind of giving more of what they want. Just kind of really depends on that.
Any other questions? Dave again?
Have you experimented with sponsored tweets or paid Facebook promotion stuff? Does it work for you?
A little bit of Facebook kind of adverts, but that's more for kind of testing app icons for iOS stores. Not really kind of looked into much for like Facebook advertising. Facebook obviously putting quite a bit into advertising because they need to make money somehow. Sponsored tweets seems to be a lot more closed off at the minute. But Facebook advertising seems to be quite good, like in terms of click-through rates. It seems to be quite a lot better than other advertising platforms, and it's not that expensive. For £10, you can get a pretty good kind of response really, and kind of quite a large kind of reach for your kind of posts and stuff like that. So it's not too bad, and they're trying to work on it as well for mobile app installs and things like that because they need to make money really. So.
I've got a quick question. So you mentioned analysis. So how do you do your analysis if you can give that away?
It's things just like if you put up a post, record how many likes it gets. If you can use services like bit.ly, which will tell you how many people have actually clicked on a link. There's equations you can do to figure out your engagement rates. Facebook will tell you how engaged a post is. There's tools like Sprout Social or Hootsuite as well, which you can use, which will do this kind of like the hard number crunching for you. And it's just kind of keeping an eye on that and just seeing kind of what's popular. You can see very clearly, if one post gets more retweets than another, then more people have engaged with it, or if it gets more kind of likes. So it's just keeping, so you can do sort of very basic analysis like that, and then obviously if you go delve deep into the numbers, then do like proper fancy stats on it.
So to see from that analysis, does that change how you at one firm do your sort of promotional stuff?
It'll have an effect here. If we see that some kind of posts are more popular, then we will use that to then increase the kind of engagement, increase the likes, and then when we've got something big to announce, it'll obviously go to more people. Facebook as well, it works that your reach for your post is dependent on the reach of the previous post. So if your previous post had a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of shares, then the next one will get organically more reach. But if the one before it had nothing, then it's a lot harder to get the reach for the next one. So it's about finding the ones which actually do get that reach. So then when you've got, like I say, a new product to announce or a new feature, then most people will see it straight away.
Genius idea for you then. Put cat videos up to get lots of likes before you finish a product, so that more people will see it.
Sorry?
You're saying that the amount of people that see a post is related to the amount of people that saw the previous post. So use cat videos to get a previous post lots of likes, and then announce your product with the next one.
Not everybody likes cat videos, and especially like if it's a very kind of dedicated and a very focused audience, I'm sure if I put up like cat videos, a lot of people would just say, what the fuck is this? Or, oh my god, cats are being introduced to the game, which, that's not happening, So it's very much, if you've got a very broad general audience, that could work, but if you have a very kind of a niche product or a very sort of dedicated audience, cat videos might not be the best one. If you, especially with our audience, if you say like anything, if we put a picture of like, a person with a sword, they'll just instantly assume that's a sword that's coming in the game, that's going to happen. It's like, no, that's just a picture of a sword. No, it's going to be in the game. No. Step away.
Any other questions? So last question for me, how do you actually manage all these different social media platforms? Because I find it difficult just to manage Facebook and Twitter.
With difficulty. It's more like, for us we put some social media, but we also have like forums and things like that, which was kind of a lot more important. So you're just trying to find the manager, but also finding the time to find the content to actually put up there to share and stuff like that. It's social media can be a full-time thing. That's why they do hire like social media managers. It is a full-time job these days. Somehow it's become that. Literally sitting on Facebook and Twitter has become a job, which is brilliant. So yeah.
Excellent. Paul, I've got one. Paul.
So if you're starting off just to try and get some followers on Facebook or Twitter, what's the best thing to start posting on first to try and engage? What would be the first thing to start doing?
I think like on Twitter, just kind of start posting, just even inane thoughts, or just kind of commenting on articles. Engage with start following people and kind of start engaging with them. So if there's the kind of people you respect, kind of your websites or industry individuals, tweet back at them. They might tweet back at you. They might start following you. And if you're active and you join in on things like hashtags, you kind of follow those and you kind of join in the conversation using that, then you will sort of get random followers. And if you just start talking about stuff, you'll get followers that way as well. I've talked about things like chiptune before, and now also I've got loads of kind of like people follow me, like chiptune followers, who are mainly kind of like the artists trying to find, increase their one. But just get out and just start sort of posting just anything really. Twitter's a lot easier. Facebook, if it's if it's a personal page, they have to kind of actually add you. On Facebook kind of like pages, it's a bit harder for people to kind of find you as well. So you need to use other channels to drive people to the Facebook one. But Twitter's probably the easiest one to just sort of amass followers on.
Cool. Any more? If not, Paul again.
I've got one just after the last one. So what's the best one to start off of then? Would it be Twitter or Facebook?
I'd say probably Twitter. Because it's so quick. It's you can quickly put out 140 kind of character tweet, and that's it. It's very easy to if you find a link, just share it on Twitter. You don't even have to kind of put much to it. You can literally just put the tweet out, or even just a lot of sites now will allow you to share via Twitter. Just click on that button, it generates the headline, it generates the link, and then you send it out there, and it's just kind of sharing it, and it's just sort of over time it will build up. But if you actually put the stuff out there, you join in with the conversations, and kind of contribute to that, and then people will sort of start following you back.
That's us guys, so thank you very much, Alex.